Oh, this is going to be fun. Just yesterday, I was at, believe it or not, a record shop. Yes, it's amazing. Of course, they sell new music and old music and old CDs and new CDs and new vinyl and used vinyl. It's huge. And in this particular record shop, they had probably a dozen different models of turntables. So it's like it's back. And of course, Mighty John Marshall, he knows the value of vinyl. He is the expert on the value of your 45s and albums. He is the author of the Mighty John manual. Actually has a CD with A to Z, all the records, what they're worth. And he also has a couple of books out. Mighty John, it's great to have you back.
Great to be with you, Allan. Thank you very much for having me.
And it's moneymusic.com, moneymusic.com. So, yes, first of all, let's talk about, and every time I have you on, I bring this up, but it makes me happy. Turntables everywhere, records everywhere. Yesterday at this particular shop, they had a whole section of brand new Rhino albums.
A lot of vinyl on the market, certainly more than there was 10 years ago. And, younger listeners realizing that analog sounds better to the human ear than digital. And they're making the demand for vinyl, and of course the record companies are happy to supply the demand.
This is probably too deep to get into as far as this segment on the value of records, but I'm very fussy on the phono cartridge. When people buy better speakers and have a nice amplifier, sometimes they don't think about the cartridge holding the needle in your turntable. That's where the whole thing starts.
It can make a big difference. You should never play a stereo record with a mono needle or a mono record with a stereo needle. It can hurt both the record and the needle.
Wow, now wait a minute. See, that I didn't even know there was a difference between the actual needles itself.
On some they come with a cartridge that flips upside. There's a flipper on it, mono, stereo.
Yeah, I remember those, yeah.
So you want to be careful. Because it can make a difference.
It can make a difference. All right, we have two lists we're going to go over today.
Yeah.
The first list is the 10 records worth $100 or more.
We'll start at number 10 and count down to number 1. Number 10 on our list, Rouben and the Jets. Of course, Frank Zappa. The album Cruising with Rouben and the Jets, currently up to $100. Can you think of a record where the title of the record is the same as the title of the recording artist?
Atomic Rooster. No, I don't know.
It's a Beautiful Day. Had a hit with It's a Beautiful Day. It's on the album It's a Beautiful Day, and it's worth up to a beautiful $100 as well.
Very nice.
Beatles, always collectible. Look for the 45 Let It Be, with the picture sleeve up to $100. Three Dog Night had a big hit of Eli's Coming, but the lady who wrote it has the most valuable copy of it. Laura Nyro, 45 Eli's Coming, with a picture sleeve up to $150. One-hit wonders, the Nashville Teens had a hit called Tobacco Road. The album Tobacco Road up to $150.
Before we move down the list, on that particular record,
yep.
I guess this is true with any of these. Has there been a jump in recent years on any of these as far as the value?
Well, every year they do go up. Some go up much faster than others. Usually it's the main collectibles like Elvis and the Beatles and the Stones who go up the fastest. I was just thinking about the Nashville Teens. Somebody asked me, are they still touring? Well, they'd be the Nashville Senior Citizens.
Yeah, I guess so, right.
That was 1964. More recently, 2002, AC/DC, the AC/DC LP Collection, a set of 15 albums, currently up to $500.
Wow, 2002. Of course, with the recent bad news about Brian Johnson's hearing, AC/DC is very much in the news now. Axl Rose, I guess the temporary fill-in for...
It'd be good fill-in, I think.
Yeah,
well,
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head any better.
No.
All right, so continuing on the list of 10 records worth more than $100, or at least that much.
How about U2, 1983, War is Declared, 2-album set up to $800.
Wow.
1990, Phish, the album Lawn Boy, currently up to $800. 1980, RCA released the album by Elvis Presley, Pure Gold. A lot of people have this album. Look at the label on the record. Is it orange? Is it tan? Maybe $20. But if the label is black in color, it's up to $1,000.
Wow.
And number one on our list for the month of March is a record you probably have never heard of, but the reason I put it on here is to make people realize that when they go through yard sales or bins at record stores, and just because they've never heard of a particular recording artist doesn't mean they can't be worth a lot of money. This group, called the Butlers, 1966-45, Because of My Heart, currently up to $10,000.
Was it like a hard rock sound?
No, it's a soul record.
Soul record.
Yeah, and obscure soul records from the 60s and 70s are very collectible.
Are record labels in themselves collectible?
Well, overall, no, in the sense that people generally don't collect record labels, but collectors want these records on the original label on which they were issued. Reissues generally don't have certainly as much value as the original label.
We're talking to mighty John Marshall, a long time ago, certainly still in the radio business. He's on the radio all the time, but he was a disc jockey, but long ago decided to have something on the side, his passion, records. And he knows the value of records, has several guides. He has record buyers and sellers, reference books, price guide, even on a CD. You can go to moneymusic.com, for all the information about Mighty John. Now, before we go to another list, the Stones, playing Cuba, and wow, so much. It's interesting. Yeah, I know we just did within the year a Stones list. What were the most valuable Stones records?
Well, certainly the most valuable is 1968's Street Fighting Man. The 45 picture sleeve is where the money is. The record itself is worth up to about $10 to $15, but the picture sleeve, the Street Fighting Man, up to $18,000. So Castro would like to get a copy.
Yeah. Now, as far as, and again, collecting now is one of those things that you really, I suppose you really have to know who your source is. I was thinking about this yesterday as I was looking through all these records, because I'm going to go through my collection and see what I have. They've been sitting in boxes for years. Now, if I have some valuable stuff, my inclination is, okay, I'll sell it on eBay. But is that the way to go?
Well, it's certainly one source. We put out a directory of buyers on our website, people listed by state who buy records, and it gives you the opportunity to sell to people face-to-face. And that way, there's never a question over who gets the records and who gets the money. So I always like to do it face-to-face, if possible. And so that's what I would recommend.
These are buyers that they don't have, because I know I could sell my records to these record stores that buy used records, but you're not talking about that. You're talking about collectors kind of
people? Well, both. When you want to remember, if you sell to a record dealer, general rule of thumb is a dealer pays roughly 30% of value, because some they'll turn around and sell right away, some will take a longer time to sell, and some they may never sell at all. So that's generally the industry standard, 30% of value. But if you take the time to track down the individual collectors, chances are you'll get more money for them.
And you got them in this?
Yeah, everything's included, yeah.
Yeah, okay, very cool. Okay, what's the next list we're going over?
Well, Record Store Day is coming up on April 16th, and there's always new records on that particular day. And we put together a list of the 10 records that you should buy on April 16th, the ones that I feel will go up in value the fastest. We're going to give you the name of the record, the name of the artist, and also tell you the current most valuable record by that particular recording artist. All
right, sounds good. Go ahead.
All right, the Monkees. On Record Store Day, you'll be able to purchase the 45 picture disc from Rhino Records, Saturday's Child, only 4,500 available. I suggest you buy it if you can. And their current most valuable record, The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees, mono copy up to $800.
Wow, very cool.
Also on Record Store Day, see if you can buy James Brown's Get Down at the Apollo. 2,400 will be available. Most valuable record by James Brown currently. The King record album Try Me, up to $800.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz can be very collectible. Miles Davis Ghetto Walkin' will be available on Record Store Day. 5,000 available. His most valuable record, called Cookin', on Prestige Records, up to $1,000. The Doors, live at the Aquarius from Rhino Records, 5,000 will be available. The most valuable record by The Doors, the album Waiting for the Sun, monocopy up to $1,000.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Look for Thelonious Monk on Record Store Day. The album, London Collection, Volume 3, I think 2,600 will be available. His most valuable record, Thelonious Monk Plays Duke Ellington, currently up to $1,000. 13th Floor Elevators, considered the grandfathers of psychedelic rock and roll, will have an album available, actually a 10-inch single, available on Record Store Day called You're Gonna Miss Me. I think 900 are going to be available. That current most valuable record, Easter Everywhere, monocopy of the album up to $1,800.
$1,800.
Look for the great John Coltrane. On Record Store Day, you'll be able to purchase the Roulette Sides. This is a 10-inch LP. Rhino Records puts it out, 4,500 available. His most valuable record right now, Blue Train, the album on Blue Note Records, up to $2,500.
Amazing.
David Bowie on Record Store Day, they'll release The Man Who Sold the World picture disc from Rhino, 5,000 available. Bowie's most valuable record, 1973 45, Time, with the picture sleeve up to $8,000. On Record Store Day, Bob Dylan, 7-inch EP, Melancholy Mood. On Columbia Records, 7,000 available. His most valuable record, the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan album, if you have a copy, and on it is the song, Talkin' John Birch, Society Blues, up to $15,000. And the one that I would buy on Record Store Day first, if I could find it, because 5,000 are available, and I don't know how they go about deciding which record stores are going to get which copies. But anyway, an album by Elvis, Legacy Records. It's called I'm Leaving. There'll be 5,000 available. And usually these things are numbered, and the lower numbers generally tend to be the ones that are going to be the most valuable. I think after Record Store Day, you'll see them up on eBay and other places where people will be asking astronomical money for Elvis with only 5,000 available. Wow. His most valuable record, Good Luck Charm, big hit 1962, 7-inch 33 with picture sleeve, up to $20,000.
Wow. Now, are these already on the shelf, or they just will come out that one day?
That one, well, that day until they're sold.
Until they're sold.
Yeah. So again, I don't know how they decide, how they distribute them and who gets what.
Yeah, it was really, now is it, Rhino was bought up by Time Warner or something like that. I'm not sure. So it's not the original Rhino that we remember in the olden days, is it?
Well, I don't know. It's the same. It's the label. I don't know if,
right.
Who owns it now.
Yeah.
Sure.
But hey, they're still doing creative stuff. I think.
Oh, absolutely. Great
Harold Bronson, who was the original owner, when he sold it, he made certain things in concrete that he wanted to continue doing, and he got I'm so glad that they continue that tradition. I heard that the records that are made today are all made, for the most part, I haven't heard any other story to say this is wrong, but they're all using the old presses that still work because there's no new ones.
Yeah, I would assume so. Why not? They still work, and they're fine.
Yeah, some still do. They had to manufacture parts because there's no one making those things anymore. So it's the same equipment. That's cool in a way.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Now, any of this list of these records you should buy on Record Store Day, if you didn't get it all when we ran through it, just go to my website, moneymusic.com, request the list, and I'll certainly email it to you.
Moneymusic.com. He also has, do you still have that 654-1967 number?
No. Our regular telephone number, though, is right on the website.
Right on the website.
Yep.
Moneymusic.com. By the way, have you bought anything new recently?
Well, I think the latest find I had was actually a copy of My Girl by the Temptations. I found a copy for $25 at a thrift store with the picture sleeve, and it's currently up to about $200.
Yeah, I'm literally going to grab a box of my records that have been sitting in the closet for 16 years.
Yeah, we'll go over them, let you know what you got.
Man.
Last time around, I decided, I came up with a list of 10 records by politicians that were worth $100 or more.
Oh, okay, let's do that. Remind me of that list. We'll do it. All right.
Well, I don't know what I did with it. That was 4 years ago. I remember John Kerry was number one. He had a group called the Electors, and they put out an album which was worth up to $1,000. And then when he lost, it went down to 500.
Oh, Bernie Sanders, wasn't he in a folk rock band or something?
I don't know if they put anything out on vinyl. I'll
Yeah, I did. They showed it on a TV show. Yeah, they showed it and played the cut. They played the cut. Oh man! All right, you have a great day, Mighty John.
Thank you, Allan. I'll get that off to you.
Thank you.
All right,
John
Bye-bye.
Marshall, everybody.